Hello everyone and welcome to my second channel. Welcome back to Jack in the Books and welcome to the mid-year freakout tag. I love the name of this tag because it's so dramatic, but also true. We are freaking out. This is like the mid-year asterisk freakout tag because it's not really, it's August. It is not really mid-year anymore, but I didn't film this yet and I got FOMO, okay? This time last year, I filmed this tag in Paris when I was living in Paris. And I'm like, oh my God, so much has changed since then. It's mental how much life comes at you quick, huh? And it's funny having these markers throughout the year where you kind of can reflect on how much has changed since the last time. That's kind of wild. But anyway, today I want to talk about some books that I've been reading. First and foremost, let's check some reading stats. I use the Story Graph. It is a great book social media and it's really brilliant for giving you detailed analytics about what you've been reading and your kind of habits, the patterns within your reading. Maybe some of you don't care about that, but I care so much about that. I just find it really interesting. So far this year I have read 140 books, which is actually 78% of the way to my goal of 180 books this year. So ahead of schedule by 33 books, which, it's been a year. I've been going through it and so I've been reading a lot. And you can tell that, I'm really exposing myself here, but my most popular reading moods are reflective, emotional, dark, challenging, and sad. And the moods that I enjoy the least or read the least are lighthearted, inspiring, and hopeful. So that says everything you need to know. I've mostly read medium-paced books, 76% fiction, only 24% non-fiction. My most popular genre is literary and contemporary. And my most read authors so far this year, actually there's only 3 authors that I've read more than one book from, and that is Claire Keegan, Annie Ernaux, and Han Kang. And my average rating for a book this year so far has been 3.7 out of 5. So pretty solid reading year so far. It's been a good 6 or 7. Or 7.5 months. But now there are some specific questions for the mid-year tag. So, firstly, the best book you've read so far. Actually, none of these books are books I have physically with me right now because they're all in storage in Hell's Kitchen, New York. But Love in the Big City by Sang-Yang Park was just so wonderful. I read it in Korea and I was sitting under the cherry blossom while it was parachuting down from the trees, and it was just that was a sublime, divine, transcendent experience. My friend Anton actually translated that book and he did so masterfully. It is just the most gorgeous coming-of-age story about growing up and discovering yourself, and it's also kind of about South Korean nightlife, living with your best friend and getting into all sorts of trouble in your early 20s. I just thought it was exquisite. I love that book. Then I also would say my other 2 favourites of this year have been Sula by Toni Morrison and Another Country by James Baldwin. Those 3 books are new favourites of all time. They're in that tier of books I will never forget reading, that I wish I could read again for the first time, that I will refer back to, that inspire me so much. If I could write anything like any of those 3 authors, I would be elated. Both Toni Morrison and James Baldwin, I think, just understood the human condition so well, and they write about a range of characters and they just nail it every single time. It's so believable. The characters jump off the page. I just love those books so much. And you're going to be hearing me talk a lot about them forever. But before I move on to the next question, I am delighted to let you know that today's video is kindly brought to you by Surfshark. Surfshark is a VPN, which stands for Virtual Private Network. And what a VPN can do is it encrypts your data, meaning that anything that you put onto the internet is kind of complicated and made more obscure and confusing so that potential hackers can't access your information. And this is especially important if you are, like me, someone who likes to use public Wi-Fi, have your main character moment, go and sit in a coffee shop and work, or at the library, whatever. You're kind of in danger in those times. Your information, if you're putting them onto public Wi-Fi, that's not great. But with Surfshark and with a VPN, you don't have to worry, which means you can just do your thing in peace, The other great thing about Surfshark is that you can virtually travel. And what that means is that you can change the location of your device to a different country or a different place, which means that if another country has shows on a streaming site that you want to watch, you can change your virtual location and watch them. And so if you think that sounds as wonderful as I think it sounds, I use Surfshark every single day. You can head to surfshark.deals/jbooks and use the code JBooks to get 3 months of Surfshark completely for free. The link will be down below. You can check it out and enjoy. You're welcome. Thank you so much to Surfshark for working with me. The next question is, what is the best sequel that you've read this year? And I have to say, I don't think I've read a single sequel. I don't really read series of books, which is probably because I'm not a massive reader of like YA or fantasy or sci-fi, which tend to be the genres that have sequels, or like crime and mystery. Like all of those genres are the genres that I don't really read. So I don't think I have read a single sequel. No, I don't think I have. One sequel I guess I will read this year will be Heartstopper Volume 5, because that's coming out I think in December. And so Heartstopper Volume 5 will be a series that I read. Speaking of which, a new release that you want to read. Okay, firstly, Penance by Eliza Clark. Eliza Clark for me is becoming an Insta-buy author. This book could consolidate that, because as soon as I heard that she had a new book, I was like, I need that right now. Her debut novel, Boy Parts, I thought it had so much personality. I think that her voice is so self-assured, and I've heard that this is a kind of like true crime mystery, but still has that same wit and sharpness that her first novel had. And so Penance is a book I cannot wait to read, and I'm sure you're going to see me rave about this soon. I kind of know I'm going to love this. And then a book I'm just sort of intrigued about is this one. This is Chain Gang All-Stars, and I've heard this is like the new Hunger Games. In a way, also look at those inside pages. How gorgeous is that? Welcome to Chain Gang All-Stars, the popular and highly controversial program inside America's prison system. In packed arenas, watched by millions of livestream viewers, prisoners compete as gladiators for the ultimate prize, their freedom. As they prepare for their final encounters, as protesters gather at the gates, and as the program's corporate owners stack the odds against them, will the price be simply too high to pay? I'm really intrigued by this book. I really can't wait to read that. So that's Chain Gang All-Stars. Next question is, what is your most anticipated release for the rest of the year? It's a book called Bellies. I'm really intrigued by it. It's about a relationship between two young graduates, and I just think it's going to hit me at like the right time. You know, when you read a book and the characters are the same age as you, are encountering, I don't know, I don't know much about the book. I just know that they are young graduates, and I think that that is kind of what my life is like, and also a lot of the people around me. And so I think that I'm really going to connect with this book and engage with it and find it very interesting. Even if I don't end up like loving the book, I think I'll find it fascinating to read just because the themes are relevant to me. So do you know what I mean? I think it is going to be Bellies. Also that cover, gorgeous. What has been your biggest disappointment so far this year? This book here, Fake Accounts by Lauren Euler. I thought this was going to be so good. I knew that it was kind of set in Berlin. It was about a person who finds out that their partner is like an incel, like conspiracy theorist, and has been running this secret alt-right online profile. And I just thought that was such a fascinating concept for a book, and this just absolutely tanked for me. I thought the writing style was horrible. It just goes completely off track, and it wasn't for me. I just felt so gutted because the concept was great, and yet that concept that kind of sold me on the book is like the first 5 pages and the last 5 pages, and that's pretty much it. The rest of it is just like, I don't know, I can't even explain what it was. It was just like, this girl just goes to Berlin and is insufferable every day. So yeah, did not love that book. And then also there was a book called The Novelist, which I was really intrigued by because I thought it'd be interesting to read about someone's process of writing a book, but it just was very dull, and that let me down a lot too. And such a shame for a book with probably one of the nicest covers I've ever seen to have no substance as well as style. So there you go. The biggest surprise for me this year, oh my gosh, this book right here, hang on. This one, Alone with You in the Ether. Oh my God. Oh my God. This book blew me away. Like Olivia Blake's writing was just divine. Also, look at this edition, like the sprayed edges, hello? I'm not one to usually have like beautiful books like this, because I buy a lot of books just like secondhand and they're kind of destroyed and the spider's all cracked and stuff. So having a book that is this pristine and beautiful, it feels wrong. It feels like I've been given like someone's baby and I think I'm gonna drop it. This book is about two people meeting each other and falling in love and falling apart. They both are fully fleshed out characters. They both feel so believable and real, and you understand why they mess up and how they mess up. You also feel a lot of empathy for them. It's about communication. It's about what it means to be unwell, what it is to give yourself over so entirely to another person. And the writing is just stunning. I just was like flicking through and I can see there's like whole pages where I'm just like underlining pretty much everything because it was just so lyrical and beautiful. I just made so many annotations in this book, so many unforgettable lines. I thought this was amazing. And the reason I guess it was a surprise is just that I didn't expect Olivia Blake to be a writer that I would fall head over heels in love with. So I did, and that was wonderful. The next question is, who is your favourite new author? And that has got to be Claire Keegan. Claire Keegan is the love of my life. I'm so serious. I am so serious about that. I think she is the most talented person ever. She writes these gorgeous little books about Ireland, and you know how I feel about an Irish novel. They're quiet and unassuming and just about ordinary people living ordinary lives, but they are exceptional. Everything about these books is extraordinary. She is such a talented writer. The way that she builds up to a crescendo moment, the way that she pulls at your heartstrings, the way she makes you fall in love with her characters. I cannot wait to read absolutely everything that Claire Keegan writes from now until I die. Favorite character that I've read so far this year? Oh, I know, but the books are upstairs. Bear with me. Okay, I'm back. I have two. I actually wore myself out doing that. That's not a good sign. Anyway, I have two books with characters that I just adore. And they're both hardback books, and all my hardbacks are upstairs. So anyways, firstly, Demon Copperhead. This book has won the Women's Prize, the Pulitzer Prize. It's an international bestseller, and for good reason. The character is someone you will just become obsessed with. He is written in full Technicolor, and actually the reason that I love both of these characters is the same. The other book I was going to say is Young Mungo by Douglas Stewart, because the character of Mungo is a character who could get up and walk off the page. He was so vividly described, and I think the reason that I loved the characters in both of these books is because the author really considers the way that their character would think. So every metaphor, every simile, every analogy, every turn of phrase is so reflective of these characters. It's exactly how they would think and how they would perceive the world. And it just makes the book feel so textured and real. Like the way that Demon speaks in Demon Copperhead and the way that Mungo speaks in Young Mungo, they feel like people you actually know, and you miss them when you finish reading the book. So I just love these characters so much. I want them to crawl out of the book, and I just want to give them a hug. Okay, a book that made you cry. Oh, okay. Ta-da! Young Mungo had me sobbing. This one is great. And then also, oh, where's that book? Where did I put that? It was on the desk. Crush by Richard Sykin. These poems were just so gorgeous. They made me weep a little bit, even from like the very first page. They're poems about yearning and desire and love that has been lost, and holy moly. Holy moly. Talking about crush, this crushed me. This did what it said on the tin. A book that made you happy. I don't read a lot of happy books, as we've established. I think it's over here. My bookshelves aren't ordered yet, so it's a little tricky right now. I know what it looks like. Thing is, I've done so many years on YouTube where I haven't been able to find the books because they've just been in stacks. Whereas now they actually are all on a bookshelf. I feel that I should be able to show you the books that I'm talking about when I'm talking about them. Where is this little book? The trouble is, it's really skinny. It's a really short book. It's a play. So I just have to find it. Oh, look. There it is. Ta-da! Jerusalem by Jez Butterworth. This is a play, and it's very, very funny. And I think it was written 2009 it came out, but it's still just as funny as I think it probably was when it first came out. I'd actually love to see this on the stage. I could really visualize what it would look like, but it's just like punchline, 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 punchline. The characters are very, very funny, and so I guess this one is one that made me happy. You know what else makes me happy? Having this gorgeous bookshelf, which I will be organizing properly literally tomorrow, but for right now, chaos. The most beautiful book, I can see it right in front of me. This one, Oxygen Mask. And the reason this is the most beautiful book is because look. Oh my god, it's so beautiful. It's a graphic novel, and I think it's told in like 3 really long sentences, but it's a story all about the year of 2020 and everything that we collectively went through in that time. And it just, yeah, it feels like a time capsule of that year, but so beautifully illustrated. It's just such a gorgeous little book, which I enjoyed a lot. And the final question is a book that you need to finish by the end of the year. I know exactly the book and I know exactly where it is for once, so that's nice. It is The Great Believers by Rebecca Mackay. This is a story told from two perspectives. One is a gay couple and it's about the AIDS epidemic, and then the other perspective is one of the couple's sister, and it's years and years later and she's in Paris. So you have like Paris and Chicago. And I read this a while back and I got to page 67 and then shelved it for some reason and started reading other things, but I was really, really enjoying it. So I need to finish this book because I know it's gonna break my heart. So yeah, that is The Great Believers. I will read that by the end of the year, otherwise death, violence, kill me. That's a bit dramatic, but it is the mid-year freakout tag. We are freaking out. I will freak out if I have not read that book by the end of this year, if I haven't finished it by the end of this year. So that is the mid-year freakout tag in August. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you are having a wonderful year so far. Thank you for being on this journey with me. I really appreciate it. And there'll be much more to come. And I'm excited for the end of the year where I can show you my favorite books that I read over the course of 2023. Thank you so much for watching this video. All the best, stay in touch, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you very soon. Bye-bye.